Steele, I want to go right back to you because look, some people are gonna see, or maybe you're tuning in, you're finding the channel first time and go, oh, here we go, console war. This isn't a console war conversation. This is a reality conversation because the gaming media doesn't want to have it. No one, I have not seen the videos, I have not seen the posts, I have not seen the articles. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you folks. PlayStation for years and continues to be the market leader for a bunch of specific reasons. They have very strong first party IP. 2018, 2019, and 2020 were back-to-back years of bangers. Obviously, 2021, they kind of, didn't do as great. 22, they did way better than Xbox, where Xbox kind of shit the bed in 2022. 23, they had a few, exclusives that were money-hatted, and of course, they had Spider-Man 2. Your mileage may vary based on what you think about that game. 24 is another train wreck for them. Concord, at the end of the year, that is going to fail in the worst possible way that you've ever seen a game fail. That game is failing. Astrobot is going to sell. I'm buying it. I'm not sorry I'm buying it. They don't have a lot. But Xbox seems to be doing something very similar, but at a pace that even Sony cannot keep up with. Steel Rain. If we go back to 2023, now I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying that everyone should love motorsport. I'm not saying that everyone should love Hi-Fi Rush. I'm not saying that you should love Starfield. But those are three games that in the same year of 2018, 2019, and 2020 for Sony, they put those put any three games together. Now they're doing it back to back. This year has already had Hellblade. Hellblade is a 10 out of 10. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, that game is a masterclass achievement in gaming. You got Indiana Jones. You got Avowed. You got 33 Immortals. You got Towerborn. You got Flight Sim. There's a couple of RTSs coming on the back end. Aura, History Untold. There is a lot dropping for Xbox. And again, based on PlayStation logic, Stalker 2 is an Xbox exclusive. It's only available on PC. It's not available on PlayStation. So you can count that if you follow their logic. Xbox is dropping it like it's hot. But it doesn't end there, Steel, because 2025 seems to be almost, it doesn't even seem fair, to be honest with you, how many games they have coming. But when you look at Blue Team, well, where are the articles about what Sony is doing? Where are the journalists? Because, they're always very concerned about Xbox and their well-being. Where was the concern for PlayStation? Where are the articles, the interviews, the videos, the opinion pieces? There are none out there. Let's talk about Xbox versus PlayStation, and specifically this showcase versus State of Play.
Well, Xbox showcase versus the State of Play is not even a fair comparison. It's almost like it's almost how the Celtics blew out the Mavs. Unfortunately, 4-1, man.
You nearly choked there.
Yeah. That was, I had to throw that in there because that threw me for a complete surprise, and I'm not even a super sport fan anymore. So it was just like, really? I thought it would be a little bit closer than that. Just the same way I would expect for games to be a little bit closer today as far as competition goes, but we don't get that either. But anyway, yeah, man, just as far as comparison, showcase to the State of Play, I mean, you can't even compare the two. Xbox came and outdid everything that they were supposed to do, even without Call of Duty there. They could have put something else. They could have put something else there, and it still would have hit all the marks that it needed to hit. Again, it's another year of them saving that E3 time that we still hold near and dear to our hearts, right? I talked to y'all behind the scenes a little bit with you, Boom. It was like E3 was an event that I always looked forward to ever since I was a kid, right? Just the hype around it, the energy around it, the feel that you got just watching it, right? And I want to be able to relive those moments. And that's one of the number one things that I miss nowadays is that back and forth competition. It wasn't, oh, we're going to wait 3 months, 6 months. Oh, I'm going to give you this showcase that has VR games that we told you that we're not going to support VR like that because it's not meeting the metrics that we're looking for. It's just, there's just so many different things that are at play that you wouldn't have seen previously, at least in a competition sense. It would have been much more visceral that, having one person having Xbox have their show and PlayStation say, oh, really? Well, here's these hopes and dreams even. And I thought that this was going to be something that PlayStation was going to lead with, knowing that it was going to be a little bit weaker first party for them. But fortunately enough, PlayStation has done so well as far as brand power and marketing and all those good things, especially as a hardware company, that when they don't have software, they can rely on second and third party. And because not everything is on PC day and date, you still are able to speak to those fans who are looking for that. Oh, well, what's exclusive to my console, right? But what I think people are starting to realize, and even people that are within that fan base, because it's something that we on the Xbox side have been quite used to for some time, right? Xbox has been working on them making sure to bring games to more players in more ways, especially the PC earlier on, than anybody else was considering. And if people don't want to consider that as an exclusive, in the way that Xbox considers it to their ecosystem, then I don't know what else they need to do to prove to you. Them releasing games years later after the fact, again, you see Sea of Thieves right now, the top of the charts on a PlayStation network. I personally think that should be a wake-up call or should be an embarrassment to Sony, but nobody else sees it that way. It just gets pushed under the rug. Oh, it's Sea of Thieves. Oh, I don't care. I care about sales any other time, but right now, since it's Xbox's game, it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Nobody's really playing it, although the numbers say differently for the active players that are playing that game. So, and that game's going to continue to get updates. So, is that the first Trojan horse that they could be possibly moving in behind the fences and saying, yeah, Sony, we'll play nice. Why not? To start shifting that mindset, start shifting the mentality when you start seeing this publisher. And again, this is a position that Microsoft should be in as Xbox. You should be able to hit all of your competition on the head after all the money that you have spent to finally, the way that you push back to Sony is not doing this exclusive business anymore, as we see that they're not. It's Xbox, it's mobile, it's wherever you can get into access to the Xbox ecosystem. It should be about the games. What games are you giving me a reason to be in this ecosystem? And even to the point that you were making with 2022, Boom, with that being a weaker year for first party Xbox, I still will continue to say, I don't care what nobody says. 2022 was still a strong year for Xbox Game Pass. And when
For
you
Game
take
Pass,
that,
absolutely, dude.
and when you take
Absolutely. They delivered. Yep.
and you have to take that into consideration. I get that doesn't fit into the exclusive narrative and the specific games that speak to your platform. And look, I hear that. But now that they're coming, and I see nothing but excuses for reasons why people should doubt or why there's more faith in a game like Stellar Blade that's not even your own IP that is also
Yep.
possibly going to be coming to PC, because not because, oh, they just decided it was going to come to PC. They had a PC version previously before PlayStation got involved. So that was already on the table. PlayStation now has trophies on the PC ecosystem, on PC. So it's like things are moving the direction seemingly that Xbox has kind of laid out the red carpet for. And it's getting more and more interesting because now you see Xbox spend all this money. You see them drop the showcase that they did, with the list and the lineup of games. Again, I think people are looking at indie with rose tinted glasses, and I can't even lie and say that indie didn't at least impress me more than it did previously. Am I considering still playing it day one? Maybe not. We'll see. But guess what? it is in Game Pass. It is part of my service. It is part of what Xbox has allowed me to be a part of because they see the value in the consumer. At least I do, right?
Yep.
And there's many others, 35 million plus people who also see that value. And that number is only going to grow. I mean, again, to James' point that he was making, the thing that got me most excited about Call of Duty being at this showcase was the Call of Duty streamers who have hundreds of thousands of people who watch them on a
Yep.
daily basis tune into this to get Call of Duty information. And since they led with Call of Duty, it was you had to be buckled up for the rest of the show because you know why? Because they were going to come right behind it and follow up with a Call of Duty kind of show out and say, hey, get a little behind the scenes what we're doing with this and get people even more excited. Omnidirectional movement, all these cool things that you're going to be able to do in this, the campaign that seems to be extremely flushed out, the longest that Call of Duty has had to be able to be worked on in quite some time. There's just so many factors. And again, Call of Duty's not the end all to be all. And I know people feel like, oh, well, Call of Duty's on a downturn. If Black Ops 6 is what I'm feeling it's going to be, what other people are feeling it's going to be, I don't think that shift is happening yet. That their miss was with Modern Warfare 2, if you want to, or Modern Warfare 3, if you want to call it that, and those still did well. So with Black 6 coming back, it's just going to be Xbox is making so many moves in the hindsight in the with their competition just being on the opposite side of the fence and them just staring at each other. And it's just like they walked up to each other. It's like two fighters getting ready to weigh in, and they just that moment that they just walk up to each other, look each other in the face, and Xbox has just smug look. And you have Sony over there just talking all that smack. And then we're going to get to the fight, whether that's at the end of the year, whether that's next year, whether that's when 2026, when the supposed console launches. They're going to get into the fight and have the potential to not only go 12 rounds with their competition, but potentially knock them out in third round, fourth round, with half the rounds, let's be generous, than it would ever have taken before. So just this is Xbox is leagues and bounds ahead of what Sony has currently going. But again, I also like to be fair. Sony still hasn't given me personally a reason to invest in their ecosystem, not as much as Xbox has. And mind you, I'm using the word ecosystem for a reason. That is the thing that Xbox has always done well for me, and they've done this since 2001. With a little bit later than that, when they made it more official with Xbox Live. It has always been about the ecosystem, and the games have followed behind that. And now it's just opening even more, man. So I'm excited to see where things are going. Hopefully Sony digs a little bit deeper into their bag, and they do have some special things to show us. But man, the first party is looking really light, and I can't even tell you what's to be seen there. Matter of fact, one of the games, as an example, that gave me a reason to buy a PlayStation 4, and I said would be a reason to buy a PlayStation 5, is coming to Switch and PC in Gundam Breaker 4.
Yep.
So it's like everything is expanding out because everybody is starting to see that, this whole exclusive thing that we keep going on, it's not helping us. Like, what are we helping you for? For what? For your 50 million console base that doesn't buy all these games, that doesn't support, that's just how it's starting to pay off. So it's going to be really interesting to see how things continue to move forward and how Xbox continues to shake up the ecosystems as they have been of late.
Yeah. Well, again, look, Sony has a lot of players, right? What we did learn a couple of weeks ago, Steele, to your point, is more than 50% of PlayStation current players are still on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Sony has not done enough to get them to commit to a PlayStation 5. You see, this is where, Jamie, where the rubber hits the road, because now if I recall, the conversation was first party bangers. Well, Sony doesn't have any. They just don't. Spider-Man 2, again, depending on your mileage, I loved it. A lot of people were like, same old shit. Fine, right? Not a problem. I enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't. It sold over, I believe, 10 million copies. Now, again, whether that's a pack in or actual sales, I don't know. But I will say this: when you just look at the shows that both companies had, it's clear as day that one company is rising to the top and the other is sinking. Now, again, that you can people are going to try and dissect this. They're going to clip me and say, "Oh, I'm saying PlayStation is dying." PlayStation isn't going anywhere. But we have to go based on what was shown. And what Sony has shown is dysfunction. They have shown they are currently directionless. They have abandoned a major piece of hardware that they spent millions upon millions of dollars developing in the PlayStation VR 2.0, and we have no roadmap whatsoever outside of what's coming this year. And look, I'm excited for Astrobot. That's not a lot of people. I'm an old man that likes platformers. It's not going to sell well.
Mhm.
Concord is DOA. Let's talk showcase versus showcase. And I got to be honest with you, based on the plethora of games coming from first party, but not only that, the day and date drops into Xbox Game Pass, they definitely have Sony by their Buster Browns. Let's talk about it, Jamie.
I mean, if we're comparing showcases, it's laughable, really. You know, the
Mhm.
Xbox showcase was jam packed. The thing is, whenever I watch a showcase, I always think about, was the pacing good and how many games are there that I want to play. In Xbox's show, perfect pacing, and I want to play every single game. You know, even the surprises like Expedition 33, that sticks out
Yes.
to me. I cannot wait to play that, and that's going to be in Game Pass. And then you look at the state of play, and it was just disappointing. You know, you look back and PlayStation, they put up this fancy VR headset that's super sleek. It's got a bunch of cool technology inside it. It's like
Yeah.
you would think that this would be their chance to like try and sell people on this product, and they didn't. I mean, I put it like this: for the same time in the life cycle, that the Xbox 360 Connect had more exclusives than this VR device.
Mm.
It's crazy, and you know, people, no matter what, just say Xbox has no games, and then you watch that state of play. That was embarrassing. It was actually embarrassing. Now, there was stuff there that I thought was cool. I thought, you know, Astro Bot, that looked fun. That's going to be a fun platformer. But like outside of that, it was just bad. It's like people have been wanting a new showcase for a long time, and they just didn't get that. This was a state of play, and it was bad. And then you have Xbox, like a week and a half later, come out with not just the best showcase by Xbox ever, the best showcase ever. Like
Yeah.
it's made a lot of detractors go, maybe Xbox does have a lot to show. And they did. And you look at the state of PlayStation at the minute, it's like they clearly going towards this games as a service cycle when it comes to game development. Where this time 10 years ago, people were talking about Xbox being the, you know, the live service box, the shooter box, and all this stuff. And like almost every single game Xbox showed last week was single player. Every single one. You know, and it's like how things have changed. And you see a lot of PlayStation content creators come out and say, you know, they talk about some super secret showcase, or they're talking about Xbox games that they want to come over or might come over. The truth is that I don't blame all these people. I blame the fact that PlayStation has not give their fans anything to talk about. Nothing. They keep talking about a PlayStation 5 Pro, which hasn't been announced. They keep talking about a mythical showcase, which hasn't even happened. And like every time there's a disappointing showcase by PlayStation, doesn't matter if it's a state of play or not, we see people in the media, people coming out saying, "Oh, I've heard that there's going to be another showcase in September." It's like, rather than come out straight away and admit how bad it was, how embarrassing it was, they try and think, okay, we'll save face for this billion-dollar corporation and say that there's something else coming down the line. Like Xbox has had terrible showcases in the past. Nintendo's had terrible showcases in the past.
They all have.
Yeah, they all
Yep.
have. And Ubisoft, my God, they just consistently terrible. But like we have to give them credit. Xbox did a fantastic job. They had one objective. this summer. They had to show people they had the games. They did that, and they over-delivered. PlayStation, they didn't deliver anything. They delivered diddly squat. The only thing that did get delivered was a Lego game a few days later, and that's going to be on Switch day one. And that's also the confusing messaging thing over at PlayStation. Remember, we were told that, only live service games are going to be day and day.
Yes.
Fair enough. Now, I play Lego games. I like Lego games. Do you know what Lego games aren't? Live service games. And people keep talking about how, it's a Lego game, that's why it has to be multi-platform. It's like, that's not how it works. Horizon Zero Dawn is a PlayStation IP.
Their IP?
Yeah, PlayStation decided on this. And there have been exclusive Lego games in the past. Lego City Undercover was exclusive to the Wii U for 6 years. Right? It's like, there's clearly no issue about exclusivity for a Lego title. And then, this Horizon Lego game, it may be fun, it looks fun, but how come everyone's okay with the day one on Switch all of a sudden? And then you don't have the media folk asking why isn't this on Xbox? Whenever any Xbox game is announced, they ask 5 seconds later to Phil Spencer's face, hey, is Halo going to be on PlayStation next week? No, it's not, you dickhead. Anyway, my point is that Xbox had a great show. I mean, you even have Chris Dring on Twitter right now posting about how Nintendo won, not E3. And he's really trying to roll it back in the replies. But it's like, no matter what happens, people don't want to give Xbox credit. It's okay that PlayStation had a bad show. They'll have good shows in the future. But it's just right now, they are clearly putting all focus, or a majority of the focus, on live service games. And that Concord game, like, was anyone listening, did anyone really watch that showcase and think, you know what? We need a brand new Hero shooter? Not a single person alive was asking for that.
No, I'm more so curious on how you show that to be your hero shooter, and in the same show, you undermine it by showing Marvel Rivals.
Yes, ridiculous.
Really? The Marvel Rivals game is going to have cross-platform multiplayer, so you have a way bigger player base, and it's like, I think it's going to be one of those situations, unfortunately, that it's not going to stay around for like a year. We say this all the time. These live service games that don't, pick up steam, they'll get shut down after a year.
Is dead.
Yeah, and then the studio unfortunately gets shut down. But like, if I was a PlayStation fan or a PlayStation content creator, I would be asking Sony, where the hell's the games? Because one, I don't play live service games, so that's Concord out the window. The Lego game's going to be on Switch. Why aren't we asking, why is this day one on other consoles? Why isn't this on Xbox? So from that, their state of play was confusing. The messaging doesn't make any sense. Where's the games? But on Xbox, they actually brought the heat, and all their games pretty much single player, which for me is bloody good.